Item number 13, resolution authorizing interim financing by the Peninsula Corridor Joint Powers Board for the Peninsula Corridor Electrification Project in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $150 million outstanding at any one time.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. My name is Michael Burns. I'm the Chief Officer for the Caltrain Modernization Program, which is responsible for the electrification project for Caltrain, including the infrastructure improvements and the purchase of 96 new high-performance electric trains referred to as EMUs. This project will reduce emissions, increase capacity, allow Caltrain to provide additional service, and set the stage for future high-speed rail blended service on the peninsula. I want to say we truly appreciate all of the support from the various city departments on the project, including the Mayor's Office, the Transportation Authority, and the SFMTA. The item under consideration for the committee today is to approve and to move to the full board Caltrain's request to secure short-term interim financing up to a maximum of $150 million to cover cash flow needs for the project. As you know, Caltrain is a joint powers board. City and County of San Francisco is one of the 3 members of the Caltrain JPB. The others are the San Mateo County Transit District and the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Agency. Under state law, a financing for a joint powers board cannot be approved by the governing board, the JPB, until a public hearing is held and the financing is approved by each partner agency. Both the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority and the San Mateo County Transportation Authority have approved this financing. We have 7 funding partners on the project, all of whom will provide funding on a reimbursement basis. We need this interim financing capacity to cover short-term gaps between when we need to pay our contractors and when we need to get reimbursed from our funding partners. The major sources of funding for the program include the partner contributions, and thank you to the board and the city for their participation in the 7-party agreement, which secured the needed funding for the project. State funding from the California High-Speed Rail Authority, federal formula funds, and an FTA core capacity grant. All funds have been secured except for the FTA FFGA, which is expected by January 15th. The contract for both the infrastructure project and the vehicles have been awarded, and both contracts have been issued limited notices to proceed to advance design work on the project. Full notice to proceed in construction manufacturing activities are expected to start in the spring of 2017, and full revenue service, electrified revenue service on the peninsula is expected by the end of 2021. The proposed short-term interim financing is a negotiated transaction. Discussions were held with a number of financial institutions over the course of several months. 6 banks were invited to submit bids. We received bids from 2. J.P. Morgan has been selected as the preferred lender. Finalizing the agreement and the details of the agreement are in negotiations currently, and the expectation is that the JPB board will be approving that agreement in November. The interim financing has been reviewed and discussed with the Comptroller's Office and the Mayor's Office of Public Finance. We recommend that you approve the proposed financing capacity in accordance with Government Code Sections 6586 and 6586.5, and I'm happy to answer any questions, whether it relates to the financing or the project itself. I also am joined by financial staff from Caltrain if there are any detailed financial questions.
Supervisor Tang.
Thank you. Can you go back to the issue of the federal grant?
Sure.
And for the public purposes, could you tell us how much we're expecting out of that?
Yes, so we have been working with FTA on a full funding grant agreement for the last 2 years intensely, and we're in the last stages of securing all of the necessary approvals for that grant. The total is $647 million. So it's roughly about 30% of the total project cost.
And so I don't know how confident you feel about getting the grant and what would happen if potentially we're not able to secure that 600.
Yeah, we have a substantial amount of support for this project, both from local delegations, federal delegations, from the FTA itself. And as I said, we've been working through the details with them on meeting all of the various documentation requirements to be able to qualify for the grant. And there's a 30-day congressional review period that we expect will begin about mid-December, and we're just about at the closing end of concluding all of the necessary work that's needed, the coordination work with FTA for them to recommend that grant.
So are we feeling so confident about this that we don't have any sort of backup or contingency plans?
Well, we do. We are feeling very confident about it based on the work that we've done with FTA. The limited notices to proceed have been issued specifically for the design element of the project. So if for some reason the full funding grant agreement did not materialize and there wasn't another alternative, we would be able to terminate those contracts. That's not the expectation. We have further backup plans in the event that the full funding grant agreement is delayed beyond what we have now as March 1st for the notice to proceed for construction. We have enough money for fiscal year 17 through the other sources to cover. But at this point, there's no reason for us to have any expectation other than we're going to receive that grant.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? We'll move on to public comment. Anybody wish to comment on item 13? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed.